Well, thank you very much. Welcome South Africa. Good morning. We're coming to you live from Sandton Convention Center here in Johannesburg. My name is Tammy Dixon. We're going to bring you a very fascinating conference that deals with controversial issues surrounding the wildlife at an international level. This is the conference on convention that deals with international trade on endangered species. The whole world is here, at least those who have an interest in issues of wildlife and conservation. We're expecting about 3,000 delegates or more that will be dealing with very critical issues around the wildlife, especially in the African continent. One of those big issues is really the illegal trade that has risen up, the growing illegal trade on African elephants, as well as the rhinos that are being poached and killed in the process. And all of those in the name of illegal trade that is happening at the international market. This conference will seek to ensure that the instruments that this convention, this treaty called CITES, actually have to or they need to do trade on wildlife because that's how they issues this conference will be dealing with. And also, as they come, as you can see, the delegates will be soon coming into the auditorium. Some of them are arriving already and, coming from different countries. We do expect the President of our Republic, Mr. Jacob Zuma, to actually address these delegates here to open this convention and also really to set the tone in terms of the critical issues and very important issues that they have to deal with. We understand that there are about 500 proposals that are on the table that these delegates will have to deal with to the international trade on wildlife. Before then, I had an opportunity to catch up with the Minister of Environment here in South Africa, Umama Edna Molewa, really to get a sense of where things are going and what is it that they're expecting from this gathering over the next 10 days. And let's take a listen to what she had to say. Well, it's a great moment for South Africa as it is about to host one of the very historic conferences, the Convention on International Trade, looking at endangered species. I mean, it's a multi-billion-dollar industry that this conference is going to be looking at, and there's a whole range of issues that the delegates here will be looking at in terms of ensuring that all of these issues, they are in line with the provisions of this convention. But to talk more about this, somebody who's more knowledgeable than myself on the issues of wildlife and conservation and international politics that go with it, as Minister Edna Molewa, who is responsible for environment in South Africa. Minister, thank you very much. First, let's deal with the pleasure of South Africa hosting this convention coming from China, Thailand in 2013. 3 years later, it's here. Is it another feather on the cap of South Africa to host this event?
We are very delighted indeed that as South Africa, what we made a request to host this conference about 3 years ago when we were in Thailand has actually come to fruition. It involved hard work, lots to do, but here we are. But as much as it was hard work, we knew, even as we submitted the bid, that South Africa is a country that is very well known in hosting these kinds of events and successfully. We are very proud that we have over 3,500 delegates who are here. They will be here for a full 2 weeks. You can imagine for us how good it is for tourism and for everything in the country, for exposure of our own country. So yes, we are very, very delighted. And I think everybody here, without exception, have been voicing their very happiness about how things have been organized here. They say the setup is quite good, the content is fine, and they are really ready to engage. So we have always said we are providing an atmosphere and a right environment for delegates to negotiate and to discuss. And things are unfolding very well. We are very, very happy.
I suppose it also adds to South Africa stretching its own muscles in terms of being able to host global events. I think it does something to the prestige and the recognition of South Africa that we're a world player.
Absolutely, absolutely important, because anybody now of late, anybody in every country throughout the world, bodies like this are looking forward to South Africa to say, this is the host. I'm sure all of us will recall, even during the 2010 World Cup, when people were saying, no, it won't happen and so forth. Sepp Blatter kept on saying, option 1 is South Africa, option 2 is South Africa, option 3 is South Africa. Even about those events that later followed, big conferences like this one, we are able to host without a small hitch. So, yes, it gives us a muscle, it gives us confidence. And this is not only about muscle and confidence of hosting, by the way. It gets South Africa to actually say, and everybody say, that this is a respected country. It therefore says that people who are in South Africa and South Africans know what they do, and we can trust that whatever they touch is actually magic. And that's why we are so confident that indeed, with our own humility, by the way, that we can help the world and attract the world over to our shores. It's a way also of getting investments happening, because those who are here go back home to talk about these activities. I mean, someone was saying to me, this whole area here, you can see that there's a lot of investment that's happening. So even the current epoch, where people are saying inside South Africa we have difficulties, other people external are seeing something different. They're saying we can see this with our own eyes. Developments are happening. Johannesburg and Pretoria, it's all skyscrapers here, it's all cranes and all those things that they see here. So we are really very happy that, and this comes as an exposure to a country on matters like this, hosting these kinds of conferences.
Let's get to the business of the day. 3 years ago, this convention was in Thailand. A lot of issues were on the table in terms of this growing illegal trade of wildlife, especially the African elephants and so on. What has moved, what has shifted, Minister, from 2013 to 2016 in South Africa?
Well, I think we must say that this is actually a body that's based on scientific evidence and very much evidence-based. So from the time when we were in Thailand, after discussions were taken, resolutions were made, let me just pick on one issue about the elephants issue. And maybe even take it a bit further back, when South Africa was allowed to once off sale of ivory as stockpiles. Between that time, there were certain decisions from Thailand that were saying, for instance, let's work intersessionally on understanding, for instance, the African elephant, what are the population rates, the Asian elephants, what are the population rates. So intersessionally, the scientists do work to look at how these elephants, either African or Asian, multiply, how they increase, how the mortality rate, and doing even the count specifically, but also the guesstimates, the estimations of where the populations are standing and whether there are moves and what necessitates those moves, what causes them, even up to the oceans, by the way. Ocean space, the shark, you name them. Shark spaces, whales, and so forth, all those creatures that are really almost getting towards extinction. So with the elephants one, the study was made and found that in the African elephant, we're not in a crisis in South Africa especially. We're not in any closer to any danger in the southern region in particular. However, on the continent, there are some countries that are really in a problematic situation. So this is what at this COP lies at the heart of the discussion, where the proposals that come from some of our African brothers on the continent that says, do not trade, restrict domestic trade or closure of markets, domestic closure of markets. Whether that is actually a fair decision and resolution to be made here, because this body is actually about international trade, as it actually says. It's not about domestic trade. There are those who are interpreting the domestic trade to mean that even if you do things domestically, they impact on internationally. So we are saying we must not try and also move into sovereignty decisions that has got to be made by particular states. If we are, for instance, to leave this whole area, the conference, having agreed that there must be closure of domestic markets, what are you saying about the African elephant that's in the African Southern District community? because there are overpopulation. So it's those kinds of things that we'll really talk about and debate. And the jury is out. We are engaging one another, and I think we'll get there. So there are proposals that we have made as South Africa. We are happy that there's full support from the EU and from all other countries on those species that South Africa. One of them is the Cape Mountain zebra. We are saying we ask CITES a few years ago to put this on Appendix 1, meaning that we shouldn't trade with it. And we are not saying banned. We are not saying other countries must be banned. We are saying ours. Because from a scientific point of view, we're seeing that they are dwindling down. The trade has actually caused it to be minimized, and it was almost getting to extinction. So we now have populations that have grown. We're saying move it from Appendix 1 to Appendix 2 so that we can now deal with trade. Ginger, wildlife ginger, wild ginger. We are moving from Appendix 2 to uplisted 1, so that at least to Appendix 2, so that there's controlled and managed area of this. And so the species,
whole range of issues,
which are going to be.
Minister, I'm sure we're going to talk quite a lot as the Congress, or rather the conference continues, and I'm sure you're going to be available to us to be able to ask a lot of questions around the issues that we have raised.
I will not be rude. That's why you've got to be here to inform the whole world and South Africans.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much indeed.
All right, that's South Africa's Minister of Environmental Affairs, Umamo Edna Melawa, really explaining some of the critical issues that this conference is going to be about. At the center, really, of this conference is the issue that Africa is worried about, the African elephants and the trade of the ivory. A lot of countries that are worried about the trade of ivory, and this conference is going to decide as to what should be done. Some countries, they want to trade the ivory, other countries, they want it to be banned. So we're going to look at all those issues during the course of this conference.
Well, it looks very busy there at the Sandton Convention Centre. Of course, it's a very important conference that is taking place, opening today, and President Jacob Zuma is expected to address the crowds shortly. Now, remaining with the National Heritage Day.
Ladies and gentlemen, please give a big round of applause for our African drummers.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Shall we all be upstanding as we receive our President of the Republic of South Africa, President Zuma, with a warm round of applause, please. Thank you very much. You may take your seats. A very warm welcome, but shall we first say it, all of us must say, Happy Heritage Day to South Africa. I didn't hear that though, but I suppose it's good enough. Thank you very much. Good morning, Excellencies, heads of delegates, ladies and gentlemen. Ngechivenda bare a dumelang molweni kuyemore abusheni. A warm African welcome to our beautiful country and to this economic hub of South Africa, Gauteng province, the Johannesburg city. I greet all of you this morning, not on behalf of government alone, but also on behalf of the people of South Africa, a nation united in our diversity, who are very, very excited as we are to be hosting this landmark conference, the CITES conference. Dr. John Scanlon, the Secretary General of CITES, has described this gathering as one of the largest ever of its kind. And we are proud and honored to be host to you, all of you esteemed ladies and gentlemen, excellencies. We have gathered here in acknowledgement of the need to implement and strengthen policies to protect species and ecosystems supported by CITES. South Africa is also delighted to use this opportunity, very much so, we think, rightfully so, to market our country known as Mzansi, South Africa. If you visit the South African Tourism's website, which I'm sure all of you know by now, you'll be able to find, you will find the top 10 reasons to visit South Africa, the third most mega diverse country of the world. I can advise of 100 more reasons why each and every one of you, esteemed ladies and gentlemen, should find time to explore South Africa before and after the conference. We hope that everyone attending this conference of parties will experience our combination of nature, wildlife, culture, adventure, heritage, and indeed the vibe. I'm told some of our excellencies have been even up to Soweto at Vilakazi Street. While you are here, ladies and gentlemen, let's explore. You could also use this opportunity to visit other parts of South Africa, as this coming weekend would be an open weekend for us to do so. Having said so, I now wish to introduce His Excellency, the President of the Republic of South Africa, President Jacob Zuma. But before I do so, I would like to say to His Excellency, President, that this meeting is indeed very delighted to have you addressing us. Dr. John Scanlon was telling me that actually, if it's not the first, it's one of the few that was addressed and opened by President. So we are very happy and thank you very much for being here. President Jacob Zuma is an exemplary leader in the advancement of peace in Africa. I'm sure all of you can see around us that there's investments, there's development, you have eyes to see. He is behind all these events and the developments that are happening here in South Africa. He leads the country's strategy and effort in combating, in particular, one of the areas where we are challenged in is in rhino poaching. He leads from the bottom, from the very top, with this fight against rhino poaching. He's passionate about people's development whilst advancing conservation in South Africa's parks, national parks, and even those that are networks of the provinces. He is a very dedicated person and connected to communities, the very essence of people that we are here to talk about today, the communities that bear the brand of living with those animals out there. With the intention at heart is the President's willingness to ensure that the poverty, inequality, and underdevelopment is eradicated and people are uplifted. It is my honor, ladies and gentlemen, excellencies, to invite His Excellency, the President of the Republic of South Africa, to address us. But as I would be calling President to the stage, I need also to indicate that President has to unfortunately leave us immediately after addressing, because he has to be somewhere outside this province also performing the similar tasks of great importance to our nation. Without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, therefore, I would like to humbly ask our President to ascend the podium and address us with a warm round of applause, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you very much, Minister Mulewa. Firstly, let me apologize in advance because our languages are not the same. My name that was given to me by my father is Gedleihlekisa. My mother gave me the name Shanganyelwa. Now, they're very complicated, they're Zulu names. I'm sure if I said, repeat it, it would be difficult. So if I don't pronounce your names correctly, just bear that in mind. Apologizing in advance. Minister Mokonyane and all ministers present here from the parties and Executive Director of the United Nations Environment Program, Mr. Eric Solium, the Secretary General of CITES, Mr. John Scanlon, the Executive Director of the Convention on Biological Diversity, Dr. Braulion F. de Souza Dias. Those are the names that are not easy. the Secretary General of the World Customs Organization, Dr. Kunio Mikuria, representatives of non-governmental organizations, representatives of private entities, associations and civil society, our Director of the Program, Minister Edna Molewa, and all other participants in this conference. Good morning to you all and welcome to South Africa. I'm honored to welcome you to our shores as you gather this week to discuss very important issues pertaining to the regulation of international trade in wildlife. The CITES is an important agreement between governments as it regulates international trade in wild fauna and flora. It is critical for governments to ensure that international trade in specimens of wild animals and plants does not threaten their survival. Regulations must ensure that trade of rhinos, for an example, or wild ginger is in a way that ensures that future generations continue to benefit from them and that they do not become extinct. Levels of exploitation of some animals and plant species are high, and the trade is capable of heavily depleting their populations and even bringing some species close to extinction. The existence of an agreement to ensure the sustainability of the trade is important in order to safeguard these resources for the future. We appreciate the fact that the 17th meeting of the Conference of the Parties to the Convention on International Trade in Species of Fauna and Flora is being held in the African continent for the first time since the year 2000. South Africa is also celebrating Heritage Day today under the theme, Celebrating Human Treasures by Asserting Our African Identity. The conference is therefore starting on an appropriate date. On Heritage Day, all South Africans celebrate their cultural heritage and embrace their diverse traditions and values that contribute to our cultural diverse nation. As we speak here, our Deputy President, Cyril Ramaphosa, is in one of our provinces, the Northern Cape, in the oldest cities, Kimberley, together with the Minister of Arts and Culture, where they are celebrating this day at a level of the national celebrations. Ladies and gentlemen, you have all gathered to celebrate and protect the heritage of We are respective countries with respect to the wildlife and plants. Let me therefore also wish everyone here every happy Heritage Day today. Distinguished delegates, this COP17 affords Africa and South Africa in particular an opportunity to showcase our rich biodiversity and successful conservation initiatives that we have undertaken over the years. This includes our sustainable use management practices, which have resulted in South Africa being one of the leading conservation countries today. We are fully behind this conference as well because South Africa is committed to conservation because it contributes significantly to socio-economic development of poor and rural communities. The sustainable use of the country's indigenous biological resources is fundamental to the development of South Africa's economy and social transformation. In this regard, game farming, the hunting industry, ecotourism, and bioprospecting play a significant role. The management interventions that we apply are therefore aimed at enhancing the livelihoods of the communities to whom they are entrusted. Our country is already running a successful green and ocean economy programs, as well as a biodiversity economy linked directly to the bioprospecting and wildlife sectors. What we are doing is in line with the Continental Strategy Agenda 2063, which recognizes the important role that natural resources play in Africa's development and socio-economic transformation. In addition, the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development adopted at the United Nations a year ago also includes goals that promote the protection and sustainable utilization of natural resources. It is also important for all to remember that natural resources do not only sustain livelihoods of communities, they are also critical in promoting economic development. Examples of this include the lawful trade in wildlife, including the practice of hunting, which is criticized by many. The hunting sector in South Africa generates well over 1 billion rand a year. Our wildlife also contributes immensely to the GDP through the tourism sector, anchored in the main on nature-based tourism with the Big Five. This is a big job creator in our country. We preserve these animals because they are proud of our heritage and because they generate much needed revenue. South Africa's proud and successful conservation record has saved important species such as the black and white rhino, elephant, bontebok, and Cape Mountain zebra from near extinction in the past century. Despite increased pressure due to poaching, South Africa hosts 70% of the world's rhino population and 30% of South Africa's white rhino population is in private hands. South Africa also prides itself on its retention of its position as the last bastion of the rhino. It is commonly known and recognized that a significant proportion of populations in developing countries depend on biological resources for shelter, food, and health. The commercial role for the bioprospecting sector is evident in the biologically enriched cosmetics, personal hygiene products, oils, food flavorings, and complementary medicines. This includes popular products such as aloe ferox, which is found in South Africa. South Africa is one of the largest global exporters of these products and contributes to their global production. This is one sector that we intend to nurture and grow, thus improving the lives of millions of South Africans who are already in traditional knowledge holders of many of the biological products sought by the international markets. Distinguished delegates, we are all here because your countries agree that legal international trade in wildlife, particularly endangered species, requires regulation, monitoring, enforcement, and international collaboration. The illegal trade in wild, including poaching, presents significant challenges and threats to the environment, including undermining the potential benefits arising from legal trade that contributes significantly to socio-economic upliftment and development. It also affects communities, destroys livelihoods, and aggravates crime while entrenching poverty in communities with limited resources. Without adequate measures to ensure the legal trade is well regulated and conducted within the CITES framework, as well as national legislative frameworks, endangered species could be overexploited. Unfortunately, we also have to consistently take strong actions to address the illegal trade in wildlife, which has various negative implications as recognized in various resolutions adopted by the United Nations General Assembly and United Nations Environment Assembly. South Africa has responded to these international calls for action and recognizes the significant threat of wildlife trafficking, not only to the conservation of our species, but also to this country's national security. We have worked hard, and our security strategy has resulted in a visible reduction in the number of rhinos poached in 2016. Our law enforcement agencies continue to work hard to break the illicit value chain of wildlife trafficking in South Africa and beyond. We will also increase our efforts to engage and build partnerships with communities and other stakeholders, both in South Africa and abroad, so that we can fight wildlife trafficking on a national and global stage. We'll do this while at the same time emphasizing the importance of uplifting communities living alongside wildlife areas which continue to bear the brunt of wildlife trafficking and poaching. Distinguished delegates, the Conference of Parties provides an opportunity, an important opportunity, to discuss how parties can strengthen the role of the Convention in advancing the social development goals, the SDGs. This meeting is also tasked with ensuring that important decisions are taken on the rules of procedure for the COP, especially since this will be the first conference of parties where the European Union, as a regional economic integration organization, will be participating as a member of the convention. Global governance is critical for our common success. This can only happen if we have a transparent and fair system that allows governments to meet their development imperatives, which are intertwined with the sustainable use of species, which will be addressed in the coming days. We look forward to outcomes that are consistent with the prescripts of this convention, which are science-based and in the interest of conservation. You carry the hopes, voices, and aspirations of ordinary men and women that are custodians and beneficiaries of these wild resources. On behalf of the government and people of South Africa, I would like to wish you well in reaching those critical decisions in this very august conference. It is my pleasure to declare the 17th Conference of the Parties to the Convention on International Trade in Endangered Species of Wild Fauna and Flora officially opened. I thank you.
A very warm round of applause to our President. Thank you very much, Mr. President. Ladies and gentlemen, the President is going to take leave of us. Shall we also rise and say, travel safely, President, and thank you for having honored us indeed and shared your views. Thank you. Thank you very much, the Excellencies and delegates. We will now proceed with our program, please. You may take your seats. At this point in time, I will introduce the next speaker who will be taking us through and sharing thoughts with us. And the person I'm introducing is the chairperson of the Standing Committee, Mr. Ostein, who is well known to all of us, if not many of us. Mr. Ostein is a principal advisor to the Norwegian Environment Agency. He has been a chairperson of the Standing Committee for the past 6 years and participated in a number of planned committees meetings since Norway took chairpersonship in 2010. I would like to invite to the podium Mr. Ostein, the chairperson of the Standing Committee, to deliver his remarks. Thank you.
Good morning to you all. Let me first start off by thanking the South African government for hosting this 17th Conference of the Parties. It's very much appreciated. Thank you very much indeed. Dear President, dear ministers, dignitaries, ladies and gentlemen, friends of CITES. CITES celebrated its 40th anniversary at its last COP in Bangkok in 2013. 40 years is not long when viewed from a biologist's perspective, but I dare say that it is when seen from the perspective of one person's lifetime. The world has witnessed dramatic changes on multiple fronts since the early 70s, while the text of the Convention of 1973 is basically the same, with the exception of the Gaborone Amendment concerning membership of RIOs. Resolutions, decisions, changes to the species on the appendages and making of annotations has been the approach taken by CITES to addressing new challenges. In fact, this is how we have kept the Convention alive and relevant over the last 43 years. And this ongoing evolution will no doubt continue. One of the main challenges, in my view, as I have mentioned many times before at the Standing Committee, is to focus on compliance and the implementation of the Convention and its resolutions at the national level. By way of example, we still have about 50% of the parties with legislation that does not yet fully meet CITES requirements. Yet domestic legislation is an issue we should be able to resolve with increased political will, backed by sound technical support. The technical support is there, but needs further resourcing. It seems it is the necessary political support that is lacking. Although, fortunately, this now seems to be changing. Over the last 2 trienniums, we have seen many great innovations that have significantly pushed the CITES agenda forward. It is fair to say that today most people engaged with biodiversity conventions realize that we need to collaborate amongst conventions and with other relevant entities. Maybe this was not the case only 10 to 15 years ago, but certainly is now. There are today various ongoing processes and initiatives that are enabling pragmatic collaboration, and from my vantage point, I feel CITES has led the way here. I am particularly pleased with the progress made with the GEF and how the Biodiversity Liaison Group has worked together so well. However, maybe the most important activity over the last 6 years has been CITES' focus on collaboration with important entities falling outside of the conservation community, like FAO, ITTO, the World Bank, Interpol, UNODC, the World Customs Organization, UNDP, and many others. As an example, the International Consortium of Combating Wildlife Crime, or ICWIC, has been very beneficial for CITES parties. I need to pay credit to our Secretary General for the vision he has showed and his relentless pursuit of this bold initiative, as well as through his and the Secretariat's deep engagement with many other organizations. ICWIC is a great success, but it's by far not the only one. One other example I feel very proud of is the National Ivory Action Plans, or NIAPs. These NIAPs have been well received and have led to real and effective measurable actions being taken at the national level. A lot has been achieved in a very short space of time, and the parties concerned are to be commended for what they have done.
Well, there you can see we are live at the CITES convention. But now, let's see if we can go to the live event of Heritage Day. Of course, there's many celebrations taking place across the country. But let's see if we can go live to the Galeshewe Stadium in the Northern Cape, where the Deputy President, Cyril Ramaphosa, is addressing the main Heritage Day event there.
Acting DG of Arts and Culture. We also have religious leaders who just led us on this very important item of religion, leaders of the entities of arts and culture. We have the social cohesion advocates with us. We have the veterans of the struggle. We have distinguished leaders from different organizations. We see the Mandela Foundation here with us, the CEO and others. All of you, we acknowledge your presence, having been welcomed in Northern Cape by the Premier Lucas. As the Premier said, we are celebrating the human treasures amongst us as South African, and to assert our African identity. The theme which runs through is unity of our people. That history took place, there's nothing much you can do and change with history. But with looking forward with heritage, there's a lot which we need to do to level the playing field, the heritage landscape in our country. Key amongst that would have to ensure that our heritage is an inclusive heritage of all the people of our land. It is important that as we right the wrongs of the past, we don't repeat those wrongs, because ours is to ensure that we live by the values which are the values of our democracy enshrined in the Constitution's values of non-racialism, values of non-sexism in our country, and ensure that we assert the important value of Ubuntu amongst our people. So all what we are doing and we have to do is to ensure that as we correct what was wrong, we avoid the pitfalls of the past. Our living treasures with us, both young and old, are the ones who should assist as the compass of a society, a new democracy trying to find its direction, a direction of building a new nation, a direction of ensuring that South Africa is a socially cohering nation. And that is our obligation. All the challenges we have in our society today, be they the need to build a strong RDP of the soul, or the need to forge this unity amongst all of our people. That is why we are calling on all South Africans to share with us their ideas of how should we together ensure that we come together in harmony across racial divide, across religious divide, cultural divide, and be true to the constitution of our country, which enjoins all of us to fight for the unity in diversity. And that unity in diversity should be seen through our national days like the Heritage Day. We need to work together to ensure that we unite our people. As we redo the public spaces, we should ensure that we are not doing that which was done to us. We are leading in a true fashion of unity of our people. That's the main gist of today. And we are saying Heritage Day is not only on the 24th of September, but it should be what we live every day, the harmony of our heritage and building a heritage of South Africa, one heritage with its diversity. Thank you very much, my program director. As you have said, that we want to hear the message today from His Excellency, the Deputy President of the Republic. And as we do that, we will obviously be having other important people who would give us a message for the day. All of us here in Khalishiwe, in this important area, province, particularly Khalishiwe, an area of a warrior hero who resisted colonialism, who ensured that he fought for his people. This host of our people should always be remembered. Because
leaving their husbands and their children behind, they know they take a calculated risk because they want to protect the beauty of this nation and, of course, the rhinos and all the other fantastic animals living right here in South Africa. These groups have brought down numerous camps of poachers. They have put down meat kitchens right close to the national parks. They have brought down numerous networks of poachers. One of these very, very brave young women, Laila Mkabela, she says, "I'm not afraid. I know what I'm doing, and I know exactly why I'm doing it. It's not me who should be afraid. It's the poachers who should be afraid. We know where they are, and we will come after them." I want to celebrate these heroes of our struggle. These are the real people in the front line of our joint struggle. Without them, we will never succeed. Let's give them an applause. But by extension, I want to celebrate you. You are not, most of you, heroes of the same order, too. But you're also all heroes. because without the joint efforts of all of you, we can also not succeed. I would like to thank John Scanlon and your very dedicated team at CITES. Without you, we will be much behind in the struggle. I also want to thank all those custom officers sitting in harbors at airports all over the world. Without you, we cannot succeed. I want to thank all the police officers, all the rangers, all the civil society activists, and indeed all the ministers and officials in ministries. It's the combined struggle of all of us which may and should succeed. Sometimes people ask me the question, can I change the world? I always tell them, who else? Who else will change the world? All the giant struggles of humanity, being the anti-slavery movement, the feminist or gender movement, the civil rights movement in the United States of America, the environmentalist struggle, or indeed the anti-apartheid movement right here in South Africa, they all started with a small, dedicated group of people and then grew by time and then finally were successful. Very few people, frankly, thought that Nelson Mandela, Oliver Tambo, Govan Mbeki, and all the fathers of the anti-apartheid struggle, very few people in the 1960s when they were in prison thought that ultimately they would succeed. But they did because of the dedication and because of hard work and because they didn't ever give up. And that's the spirit which we should work on. And I wish you all well in the CITES conference, but I want also to make the point that CITES cannot succeed in isolation. Only if we step up, we can succeed. What does that mean? It means we need to start a concerted dialogue with all the people living out there. When I was minister in Norway, I was very, very proud to open 8 national parks. There was a lesson learned every time. If there was a good process with the local community, it was as easy as putting down butter with a knife. If there was no such process, it always became very complicated and much more difficult. So we need to step up and bring to the attention of the local communities all the benefits of them in protecting wildlife, in tourism, and in so many other ways, and we need a constant consultation process with local communities, otherwise we will never succeed. And we need to step up informing people. Let me pay tribute to Beijing International Airport. It's the second biggest airport in the world. 90 million people are traveling through every year, so it's huge. They have set aside for half a year a huge part of their commercial space, meaning an enormous economic subsidy to us, made that space available for a campaign to inform the Chinese and everyone else traveling through Beijing about the danger to the wildlife. Thank you to Beijing. And we have mobilized, as many of you know, a huge number of Chinese celebrities, but indeed also globally well-known people, like maybe, in my view, most well-known, the Brazilian soccer star Neymar. But if you're not so interested in soccer, he may not be your greatest stars, but there's any number of well-known stars from the Chinese Hollywood and from the American Hollywood and from everywhere who put their face up to save the rhinos, the elephants, the orangutans, the tigers, the rosewood. So these are part of the struggle, and we need to make that education effort going on. We need also to clamp down on the poachers and those who do the trade in illegal species. And the Chinese, again, here has stepped up, now putting very, very severe sentences by Chinese courts to people who have traded in illegal ivory. But we also need to step up in other ways. We need to make the link to energy. We cannot protect the habitats unless people get renewable energy and electricity. Who can blame the poor woman who chopped down trees to fuel her food or to make some comfortable living if there is no alternative in solar, wind, hydro, or all the other? We need to make that link. We need also to make the link to productive agriculture. Unless the smallholder farmer can feed his or her family, here in Africa it's very often a woman, unless you can feed your family from your farm, it's also very difficult to keep you out of the protected areas. So we need to step up, make agriculture more productive. And of course we need to step up to protect the habitats. The orangutan is living in just 2 islands of the world, in Borneo and Sumatra. It cannot survive outside the rainforest, and it's threatened, yes, by poaching, but it's mainly threatened by the limited living space, and we need to step up and protect that habitat to protect the orangutan. And finally, we need to make the constant link to the economy. There is hardly any more unprofitable business on the planet than poaching. Yes, indeed, a few individuals may gain some revenue, but yes, indeed, it's an enormous loss to society and to the next generation and to the taxpayers of that nation. And when the vast majority, nearly everyone, lose, and a small, tiny group of people win, it's an enormous economic loss to society. And tourism, ladies and gentlemen, is the most fastly moving business on the planet. It's a job producer of enormous importance. Look just to this conference center and the hotels here in Sampton. They employ many more people than most big factories on the planet, and without wildlife and nature, much fewer tourists will come to South Africa and indeed to every other place in the world. So tourism, ecotourism, but any sort of tourism is enormous economic importance, and we may make the link. But this is the space we need to fill to protect the animals and the other threatened species through the CITES, but paint a much bigger picture of energy, agriculture, tourism, then we will succeed. Finally, you may ask, can we win this struggle? I think there is one key word for that. The most important word in the world today. And the word is together. If we allow politicians and evil forces to divide us, we will fail. But if the United States and China are the 2 major powers of our era, but by extension India and Europe, Africa and Latin America, the Middle East, if we all come together and work together, there is no limit to what we can succeed on planet Earth. Divided we will fail, united and together we will succeed, and together we will manage to protect the beauty of Mother Earth, this very vulnerable planet, but the only we have. We can never go out to the outer space, to the Milky Way or somewhere else to pick another planet. Together we will be able to save the planet, and together we need to be kinder to each other on this planet. Then our children and grandchildren will experience a much better world. Thank you for coming.
Thank you very much, Mr. Solheim, and think you'll agree with me if I say that he's really shared with us very important views. Can I ask that we give him another round of applause, please, before I call the next speaker? Thank you very much, Excellencies, delegates. I now call upon stage the last speaker before the one who's going to do vote of thanks, and that is the person who has brought us together here, and that is the Secretary General to the Convention on International Trade in Endangered Species of Wild Fauna and Flora, Dr. John Scanlon. Dr. John Scanlon, ladies and gentlemen, joined the CITES as a Secretary General in May 2010. He has a unique range of experience in environment and sustainable development policy, and well-respected scholar in the field of environmental law. Back from his country, he also served as a minister of the Environment Department. Without any waste of time, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to ask Dr. Scanlon to come on podium to address us. Thank you.
Honourable Ministers, distinguished guests, friends and colleagues, it is a great pleasure to be here in the city of Johannesburg, the vibrant heart of South Africa, and on such a special day, and we wish you all a very happy Heritage Day. We express our deep gratitude to the government and the people of South Africa for their generosity and warm hospitality in hosting CITES COP17. Minister Malewa, it has been an absolute pleasure to work with you as we have prepared for this event, and we extend our deepest and sincerest gratitude to you for everything you have done to make this happen today. Yes. And we also thank all of the many people who've been involved. It has been a real team effort to pull this together. And doesn't this facility look fantastic? Yes? Beautiful. Eric Solheim, let me join our Standing Committee Chair, Øystein Sturkeson, in giving you a very warm welcome as the new Executive Director of UNEP, or Head of UN Environment, and I know you prefer that title. And Eric, you are known for your very straight-talking, action-oriented approach, and I think you can see that's very well received with the CITES audience, and thanks for that inspired presentation you just gave us. And Øystein, I think I speak for everybody here in expressing our deep gratitude to you for what you've done as Chair of the Standing Committee over the last 6 years. Not only have you chaired the Standing Committee, but you've provided extraordinary support to the scientific committees and to the Secretariat. And you were very generous in your comments about the Secretariat. We are a small and committed team, and we appreciate your recognition of our work, and very importantly, your call for us to get more resources. I think Øystein deserves a big round of applause for what he's done the last 6 years. And the start of COP17 is also a perfect opportunity for us to welcome the states that have joined CITES since we last met in Bangkok in 2013. And we've had 5 new parties join the convention. And I'll mention them in chronological order. Angola, Iraq, the European Union as the first regional economic integration organisation, Tajikistan, and our newest party, Tonga, which has joined the convention, but it'll be officially a party from the 20th of October. We should welcome the 5 new parties to CITES, and it's great to have them all with us here today. CITES now has 183 parties, and as you know, it's critical that we ensure that there's equitable participation in our COPs. And we're pleased to report that we managed to collect $660,000 through our COP17 sponsored delegates project. It has enabled us to sponsor 135 delegates from 102 countries, and we're deeply grateful to all of the donors who enabled that to happen. We all know the challenges we are confronting in tackling the surge in illegal trade in wildlife, in particular as it affects elephants, rhinos and pangolins. And we also know of the challenges in ensuring legal, sustainable and traceable trade, including in listed pythons, rosewood and sharks. But COP17 is not just about describing the challenges. It is about reviewing what we have been doing to meet these challenges and determining what more must be done. And we have much to report to this COP. Significant progress has been made since we last met in 2013, politically, financially, and technically. Distinguished delegates, colleagues, since COP16, there has been an ever-increasing political interest in wildlife trade issues, in particular in tackling illegal wildlife trade, and a recognition of the importance of CITES both in its own right as well as the contribution it makes towards achieving other goals and targets, including the UN Sustainable Development Goals, which was the focus of yesterday's ministerial Lekgotla. and we thank you, Minister, for hosting the ministerial lekla yesterday. We had the largest number of ministers we've ever had to such an event here at CITES. The political interest that has been expressed in CITES has occurred in many ways over the past 3 years, including through statements and initiatives of presidents and prime ministers, resolutions adopted by the UN General Assembly, the UN Environmental Assembly and the UN Crime Commission, as well as through many high-level political events. This heightened level of political support has also come from the personal initiatives of high-profile public figures, such as His Royal Highness the Duke of Cambridge, who was able to convene the transport sector like never before to address its role in combating illegal wildlife trade within the framework of CITES. This political support has in turn led to more funding being available to address wildlife trade issues. And when we last met in Bangkok, we reported on our efforts to engage with the Global Environment Facility, the GEF, which first started when I was given the opportunity to address the GEF Council back in 2011. Since COP17, the GEF has committed $131 million to fight illegal wildlife trade and poaching through the Global Wildlife Programme. And this also addresses conservation and sustainable livelihoods and will leverage significant additional funds. And I would like to thank Braulio Diaz, the Executive Secretary of the Convention on Biological Diversity, who is with us today, in supporting transmitting CITES priorities through to the GEF Council. And I'd also like to thank the GEF, its CEO, and all of the partners of the Global Wildlife Programme, many of whom are represented here today. We also have many multilateral and bilateral donors, as well as certain philanthropic organisations who are represented here at COP17, all of which have scaled up their investment in CITES and wildlife trade issues. We sincerely thank you for your scaled-up investment and encourage you to invest even more, because as you know, a relatively small investment in wildlife trade issues can have an enormous impact. While much of the political attention has been given to CITES' leading role in tackling illegal wildlife trade, the heightened interest in CITES does not stop there. Indeed, countries are increasingly turning to CITES to ensure the legal, sustainable and traceable trade in commercially valuable timber and marine species. And we had numerous proposals before COP16, and we have a number of proposals again before us here at COP17. This represents a major and positive shift in CITES and complements our historical association with a wide range of many other wild animals and plants. The strong political support that we've seen and the increased funding that has been generated over the past 3 years has in turn translated to better technical support being provided to CITES parties, and in many different ways. I'd like to share with you just a few examples. Our work with FAO and regional fisheries bodies, which has clearly shown the value add of CITES in protecting sharks and rays from overexploitation, as well as for sustainable fisheries management. Our work with ITTO, the International Tropical Timber Organisation, in demonstrating the great contribution that CITES makes towards sustainable forest management. Our work with ITC, the International Trade Centre, in showing the benefits of python skin trade to rural communities and engaging with the private sector to get the global value chain on a better legal and sustainable footing. Our work on CITES Mike in evolving from monitoring to minimising the illegal killing of elephants, and to expand the program to cover other endangered species such as marine turtles, and supporting field-based enforcement operations in 8 countries. And our work through ICWIC, the International Consortium on Combating Wildlife Crime, in providing coordinated support to over 30 countries in deploying the tools and techniques that are needed to combat transnational organised wildlife crime. And we are delighted that Kunio Mukiria, the Secretary-General of the World Customs Organisation, is with us here today Kunio has been a steadfast supporter of IQIC right from its inception 5 years ago. Kunio, thank you very much. We couldn't do it without customs. If time permitted, I could go on to mention our work with the UN system under the leadership of Secretary-General Ban Ki-moon to strengthen the UN system's response to illegal wildlife trade, and many other initiatives both within and outside of the UN, as well as with the non-government sector. But time doesn't permit that, and we will address them over the coming 2 weeks. Now, the reason I'm sharing these few examples with you is to clearly show that at COP17 we are not just talking about the challenges and what we need to do. We are talking about well-targeted actions we are taking with multiple partners, as well as what more needs to be done. Working with others, we are active in the conference halls at the highest political levels, right through to the front lines, working with the people on the ground who make this convention work, the CITES management authorities, the CITES scientific authorities, along with customs officials, local communities, businesses, police, prosecutors and park rangers. And Eric gave a great example of the black mambas here in South Africa. It's a marvellous example to share. These are the people in the front lines, and these are the people we're working with. Now, that's not to say that we're there yet, but our collective efforts are clearly having a positive impact, and that will be highlighted here at COP17. And while more needs to be done, we are clearly on the right track. If we persist, we will succeed in bringing to an end this surge in illegal wildlife trade and in preventing unsustainable levels of trade. Now, as I'm sure you've gathered by now, COP17 is by any measure the largest in the 43-year history of CITES, and this is a good barometer of the level of interest in the convention. I'll not repeat all of the statistics for you, but the agenda is the largest agenda we've ever had in the history of the convention. We have well over 2,500 people registered to participate in this COP, and that doesn't include the media or a number of locals who are also participating. We'll have well over 3,000 people here. Now, it's going to take a Herculean effort to get through this agenda by the 5th of October, but I'm sure that we are all up to the task. And as your Secretariat, we have done our best to present you with the best science and the best information to help inform you and assist your deliberations. The Conference of the Parties is sovereign. You will now take your own decisions in the best interest of the species concerned. Distinguished guests, colleagues, the stakes under CITES are high, and we can expect intense and robust debates. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. After all, the decisions you take here in Johannesburg will have real and immediate on-the-ground impact. They will find their way into legislation, regulation, operating practices across the globe, and will directly affect when, where and how you can trade in wildlife and wildlife products. Decisions taken here at COP17 will affect wildlife and ecosystems, people and economies. Now, on some issues, there are clearly legitimately held differences of opinion over the best way to ensure the survival of wildlife. But the particular point of view someone has does not make them any more or less committed to wildlife conservation. Rather, it's a reflection of different perspectives on how to achieve agreed objectives. Now, I was born and grew up in Australia. You probably picked that from the accent. We're here in South Africa. And these are two countries that have a great love of sport. And I'm sure all of you will agree that memorable moment when President Nelson Mandela handed the Rugby World Cup to South Africa right here in Johannesburg in 1995. Yeah? Now, rugby is a full-body contact sport. People play hard and they play to win. Sounds a bit like CITES sometimes, yeah? Sometimes, not always. But if you've ever taken the time to watch a rugby match, you'll see a great sense of sportsmanship. Players display great respect for each other, both on and off the field, as well as for the referee. Now, we can at times play it hard at this COP, yet respect each other's differing views. We can work towards agreed positions whenever that is possible, while also recognising that this COP has never shied away from taking a vote where it's necessary. How we choose to conduct ourselves is, to quote the theme from UN World Wildlife Day of this year, in our hands. What we do know is that there is a huge amount of interest in this COP from everyone here, people from across the globe watching us via the webcast or following us through traditional or social media. And they are really interested in what's happening here, and they will follow with great interest the decisions you take over the next 2 weeks. And your extended Secretariat team here for COP17 is here to offer our full support in ensuring we have a highly productive and successful meeting. Honourable Ministers, distinguished guests, the stage is now set for a truly wonderful COP. I thank you.
I didn't hear that round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Wow, thank you very much, Dr. Scanlon, for your very important message and having also reminded us that indeed this process is now in our hands and you have done your best. I do want to confirm that indeed the Secretariat has been doing a lot of work and good work. I think all of us know that. Thank you very much for your good words. Ladies and gentlemen, at this point in time, we have come to the second part of our program, which is almost towards an end. We won't keep you longer here. We are at the stage where we would like to share with all of you delegates the heritage of South Africa on this important day of Heritage Day. And we will now look at the opening production, which we ask you to all sit back and enjoy. Thank you very much. And I think at this stage, the protocol will do whatever is necessary to get all of us down. And the stage now becomes open. Please do participate. You are going to be asked to participate. Don't sit back only. Do participate. Thank you very much.
I have a dream in my heart, the new Africa filled with love and celebrations. No more wars, no more famine, just jubilation, celebration, because we were made to shine like the stars. Africa. Now your time, oh, rise up and shine. Rise up, oh Africa. Everybody all over the world. Now your time, rise up and shine. I have a dream in my heart, the new Africa filled with love and celebrations. No more wars and no more famine, just jubilation, celebration, because we were made to shine like the stars. Africa. Rise up and shine. Africa, oh Africa. Everybody all over the world. Rise up and South Africa, Nigeria, Zimbabwe, Lesotho, Somalia, Australia, Ghana, Nigeria, Tunisia, Ghana, Congo. Rise up and shine on. I have a dream in my heart, the new Africa filled with love and celebration. What?
drums underneath your table. So if you check under the table, let's check under the table. There's a drum. Let's get out. Yebo, get your drums. Oza, when you get your drum, give me a rumble. Yebo, get it a rumble. Yebo, rumble. Yebo. Okay. All right. I'm going to teach you guys how to play the drum, so watch me all the time, okay? Are you ready? Okay, when I say, are you ready? You say, yebo. All right, okay, let's hear it. Are you ready?
It is alive.
No, you can do better. All right, one more time. Are you ready?
Yebo!
Yebo! Rambo! You are ready. All right. Once again. Now 5 beats. Are you ready? Hands. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's try 9 beats. 9. 9 beats. And a 1, 2, 3, 4. Nice. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. Ramon. beautiful song called Mamalie Sibonga Wena. It means Mother Earth, we thank you. Okay? It's a sing-along song. I'll teach you guys. You'll sing along with us, right? Yes? Yebo. Yebo? Yebo. All right. It goes like this. Mamalie, 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 Mamalie. Nice. Mamalie, 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 Mamalie. Sibonga wena Mamalie. Sibonga wena Mamalie. together. Are you ready? Yeah, bro. Are you ready?
Yeah, bro.
Yeah, bro. All right. In 1, 2, 3. Mama liye, mama liye, mama liye, mama liye. Sibonga wena, mama liye. Sibonga wena, mama liye. Ha, mama liye, mama liye, mama liye, mama liye. Sibonga wena, mama liye. Sibonga wena, mama liye. Mama liye, mama liye, mama liye, my friend, mama liye. Sibonga wena, mama liye. Sibonga wena, mama liye. Mama liye, mama liye, mama liye, mama liye. Sibonga wena, mama liye. Sibonga wena, mama liye. Mama liye, mama liye, mama liye, mama liye. Sibonga wena, mama liye. Sibonga wena, mama liye. Mama liye, mama liye, mama liye, mama liye. Sibonga wena, mama liye. Sibonga wena, mama liye. Mama liye, mama liye, mama liye, mama sibonga wena, sibonga wena, mama liye, sibonga wena, mama Thank you very much. Another round of applause. Mama Liye song. Thank you very much, Excellencies, delegates. We are coming to the end of our program. And at this stage, I would like to invite on podium our Deputy Minister, Barbara Thompson,
to deliver our vote of thanks. Over to you, Deputy Minister. Is she here already? Thank you. Let's give her a round of applause, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you, Minister. Our President of the Republic of South Africa, in absentia, Minister Molewa, Minister Nkwana Mashabane, who's here with us, Chairperson of the Standing Committee, Mr. Stockerson, Executive Director of UNEP, Mr. Solheim, Secretary General of CITES, Dr. J. Scanlon, delegates to the conference, a very good morning to you all. What you have just seen was South Africa. I think it was good. It is a privilege for me to thank you for your cooperation, for your contribution to this wonderful opening ceremony, to the 17th Conference of Parties, to CITES here in Sandton this morning. On behalf of the government, the organizers of this auspicious gathering of government representatives, intergovernmental and non-governmental organizations, observers and delegates, I would like to wish you every success in the coming days as you deliberate on important issues such as illegal trade or trafficking in wildlife, securing the livelihoods of those communities whose livelihoods are dependent on wildlife and plant products. I would like to extend a special appreciation to the CITES Secretariat and members of the Diplomatic Corps who are here on behalf of our various friends across the world. A warm South African thank you to the Executive Director of UNEP, Mr. Solheim, the Secretary General of CITES, Mr. Scanlon, the Chairperson of the Standing Committee, Mr. Stockerson, our own Minister, Minister Molewa, International Relations and Cooperation Minister, Minister Nkwana Mashabane in South Africa. I believe that your messages will encourage delegates to adopt proposals and reach decisions on the international trade in species to benefit communities from our respective countries. Thank you also to the local organizing committee for tirelessly working to ensure that this conference will be a success. Last but not least, thank you to the performers that have just left the stage for the wonderful performance this morning. I would also once again extend a warm welcome to you all in our beautiful country and wish you well during the conference. What we are saying today, let's talk less and do more for CITES. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Deputy Minister Barbara Thompson, for the vote of thanks. Ladies and gentlemen, just before we adjourn, a few announcements. We are requesting the VIPs, dignitaries, to go for lunch at the dining room, VIP dining room on level O, just next to the exhibition. And we are going to be requested to all be back here before 2 o'clock so that at 1400 hours sharp, we commence with further business of CITES that we came here for. Thank you very much for having been such a wonderful audience during the opening ceremony. And let's adjourn this meeting for now until 2 o'clock. Thank you.
Leave the drums on the chairs or on the tables and do not remove them from this hall. Thank you and good afternoon. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your attendance this morning. Kindly note, please leave the drums on the tables or on your chairs, and we wish you a pleasant afternoon.